Okay, we're now moving on to the Ohio Star, which is a 3-section quilt. You can see it up in the corner of the screen, a finished quilt. This one is 12 inches, and I'm going to have 3 sections. Each section will be 4 inches, so I went ahead and put marks in where the lines are going to be to make each section. So this should be 1. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 each way with the center. Should be right there, but it's a little off. Okay, now I'm going to go with the design. I'm going to come halfway down here, 2 inches in the center, and I'm going to bring this here, this here, this here, this here. Okay, side, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to guesstimate the center here. When I paint, I'm going to measure it very carefully. No, that's white. That's the color part. One advantage to working with one of these boards, and I would probably work on a smaller one that I can lay flat, is if you make mistakes, you can correct them. It's a lot easier than erasing paper, so you can do your practice on a whiteboard, or at least definitely on a piece of paper before you attempt to draw it onto your board. Okay, I have my center is red. Okay, so that's basically the Ohio Star pattern. Simple as that. Okay, the thing I did in addition to the one on the board is I made a border on this one. Since it's 24 inches, I want to divide the design into 3 separate portions, so I took 21 inches for that section so I can divide them into 3 sections of 7 inches each. So I put 1.5 inches on each side to make the border, and I've already taped that off. I'm going to start with my 3rd lines. I've got I'm using a T-square for this because it's much easier than measuring all the way down. Still can't see that very well. It's not a really soft pencil. This one has been primed already. I have the design drawn on here. I haven't drawn it onto this part yet. So let me see here. I've got approximately about 7 inches, so the middle of this will be about 3. I'll tell you how I'll do that. It's much easier to do it this way. Okay. So I'm doing my basic crosses again. Find the center in each section. Okay, I think I have it. This will be the red section in the middle. I'm going to erase the pencil marks on there. it's going to be red. Okay, I'm going to paint white first. It's better to start with white because it's easy to cover over if you run into the other area since it's very light. So what I'm doing is taping off the blue areas to protect them. Getting ready to paint now. I'm erasing the pencil lines that still show. There's another spot I missed. Notice that when I add the tape on, I don't overlap it at both ends. That way I can only have to cut one side instead of both ends of it. But it's very easy to get confused. So you got to make sure that you got everything right before you start painting. Okay, now I'm ready to put the first coat of finish paint on. It's the white again. This is the same paint and primer, so it's the same paint that I did the primer with, but there's still enough board showing through that it needs to be gone over one more time. So I'm going to use the brush for the big parts here. One thing I want to make sure you knew is that whenever you complete the painting process, you're going to find that you have places that you have to touch up. It's not all going to come out just right. Here's this newest spot I missed with the tape. Very easy to do. No matter how many times you do it, you have to really, really be careful and think. It doesn't become that automatic. At least it doesn't for me. Okay. And I think for the smaller sections, I'll use the little foam brush. And there's a good chance that I'll be going over this again after I take all the tape off as I do the touch-up. If there's any spots that are a little too light, just go over them. So it's just a part of the process. This should be the only coat of white that I have to put on since it already has 2 coats. The other colors will probably take 3 coats. That's pretty typical. Okay, that's the white coat. Next I'll be probably doing the blue and then finish up with the red. Okay, we're back to the Ohio Star, which is red, white, and blue. I have painted in the white spaces. I've gone ahead and removed the tape from some of them. I'll continue removing the tape so you can see what the process is here. I just pull it up. If I think I can save it, I will. Otherwise, I'll throw it away. Okay, so what I've done is gone in here with a little chalk and marked off the blue sections, which I'm going to tape for this time. I want to make sure that I don't paint the wrong color. Okay, so now I'm going to be covering the white that I painted last time. I'm going to try and trim this as I go this time. Little toothpicks come in handy. If you have little pieces of tape that don't come up very well, you can dig in under it with that toothpick and usually get it up. Okay. This one overlapped up here, but it's even with it, so I don't have to cut that off. It helps that I put chalk in the areas I'm getting ready to paint, otherwise I would really get lost. Try and get the corners at the proper angle when I get to them. Almost done with this section. So, next step is to do the painting. I'll start down here. I find that you need to stir your paint pretty often. Even if you leave it for a few minutes, it's good to come back and stir it up again. Wait, I see one more section here. There's always something that I miss. Right there. Okay, oh, here's another one right here. Right there. This doesn't look right here. Check again. I think I got everything open. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I don't need to show you all the painting. It'll be the same in the other 3 sections. So what I'll do when I come back, I will have all the layers of blue done and remove the tape, and then we'll do the center, which is red, and then when those 3 coats are on, we'll be done, and then I will caulk the edges so you can see how I use the caulk gun and how I take care of that, as well as any touch-up that needs to be done. So this is getting progress on the Ohio Star. Okay, we're back to the Ohio Star. I have 3 coats of blue paint on it, and it's dry enough at this point to remove the tape and prepare to do the center part. So I'm going to strip that off. I may be able to reuse some of this, so I'm going to set it on the side. One other thing I'm going to need to do, and I'll use the same red paint, is the border. I'm going to do the border around it in red paint. I'll have to retape that for the right size. Okay, you can see right here is already a spot that I'll need to touch up. There's several of them. It's never perfect. Okay, so this part is a square, so I'm going to come across. You notice I put the painted side out when I'm reusing tape. This one's a little bit short. It's a bordered piece. Let's try this one. While I'm at it, I'll tape the border too, because I'll be using the same paint for it. I just figured out something new. When I'm tearing this long tape, if I stick the end to the board, it won't tangle up and get all stuck to itself while I'm stretching it out and cutting it. So, something new I just discovered. Okay, I've stirred my paint and I'm ready to start with the last color. This brush is starting to get a little bit hard, so if it doesn't soften up, I'll have to replace it pretty soon with another one. As you may recall, when I designed this board, since it's 3 sections, which doesn't come out too well with a regular size border, I measured off the border to leave equal numbers of inches for the design itself. If I get a little bit over the edge, it will be covered with white at the end. Some people paint the boards and run the colors over the side purposely to kind of enhance the design. So far I haven't done that. Okay. Put this back in my little bag. These subsequent coats dry actually fairly fast. I put the third coat on just about 45 minutes ago, and it was well dry, I think, within half an hour. But you still have to account for those times that it takes for the paint to dry in between coats as you work on your quilts. So I'm going to take off the tape here. Over there. I see several places where I'm going to need to do some more touch-up. The tape pulled this paint off here. Here's a spot, and I will do that. But what I want to show you now is the caulking process, where I caulk the edges, and that protects it from the weather. And since it's exterior paint, I don't really need to seal it. I have several coats of paint on it, and they say that lasts for a number of years, so that's where I'm at. This is the caulk gun I use. It's a DAP. Alex Flex is what it's called. You don't need a whole lot. You'll probably have more on there than you actually need as you do it, because when you spread it around, it covers pretty well. I'm going to make sure that okay. And if I need to do any touch-up after this, if I got some on here that I shouldn't have, I can just touch that up. That's basically what I do with all four sides of it. That is the final step in the process.